Hello and welcome to Meldon Law and Friends, a weekly podcast brought to you by Meldon Law, a Gainesville-based law firm practicing for literally 50 years since 1971. My name is Chris Qualman. No, I'm not Jeffrey Meldon. If you're wondering where Jeffrey is, he is at our headquarters here in Gainesville, and actually we're shooting commercials today. A whole bunch of brand new commercials for Meldon Law. So Jeffrey, Carrie, and several of the staff are back at the office, and Jeffrey told me to say hello to everybody. He will be back next week with this podcast. But hey, I'm no slouch. Yeah, this is episode number 66, and if you saw the first 41 episodes of Meldon Law and Friends, I'm on all of those. So it's very much my pleasure to return and be back today. We've got a terrific set of guests, the first of which is Mr. Brad Gamble from the Selling Factory. Brad, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
We really appreciate you being here. I got to get through a couple of preliminary announcements before we get started. First, I want to remind everybody that we are live on Facebook Live. If you have any questions for any of our guests, we've got Mr. Brad Gamble coming up in just a moment for the first half of the show. We've got some terrific guests coming up for the second half of the show. They are the mother and daughter team that runs an organization here in Gainesville called, let me make sure I get it right, Pinspiration. And they're going to be talking about the Pinspiration organization in the second half of today's show. But if you have any questions for us, you can type them right on your keyboard on Facebook Live. And as long as it's a reasonable question, reasonably related to what we're talking about, we'll be happy to answer it or certainly do our very best. Please, we want you to participate in the show, so type us your questions throughout the day and we'll do our best to answer them. Also want to remind everybody to take a look at our website at meldonlaw.com. Just like it sounds, meldonlaw.com. As I said at the beginning of the program, we are a statewide law firm. While our primary principal office is in Gainesville, we also have an office in Marion County, where Jeffrey has been practicing for 43 years. We also have an office in South Florida, covering the entire Tri-County area, from Miami-Dade through Broward through Palm Beach County. And we have a brand new office in Lake City that we're very proud to have just opened up. So we truly are a statewide law firm. We primarily handle personal injury cases, meaning that we represent victims of car crashes, big truck collisions, what we call slip and fall, trip and fall cases, premises liability, dog bite, pedestrian versus auto, bicycle versus auto. We've handled people injured at amusement parks, at concerts, any situation where somebody has been injured due to the negligence, recklessness, carelessness, neglect of another. Families' lives get turned upside down because of these types of catastrophic situations. You don't need to call anybody else. You can call Meldon Law, 352-373-8000. As I said, take a look at our website for lots of information about the different types of injury cases we handle. We also handle criminal defense cases, including DUI, driving under the influence cases, felonies and misdemeanors in state and federal courts. Last week on the show, you saw Yolanda Means, a brand new attorney that we just hired for the firm. So we've got a lot of firepower in our criminal defense section as well. So please, anytime, give us a call 24/7, 352-373-8000. A legal professional will speak to you about your injury case or your criminal defense matter. And hey, if it's on something else, we'll do our best to answer that too. One thing about Jeffrey Meldon, if you've been watching this show, you know he's got a lot of connections. If it's a family law case or a tax case or something outside our wheelhouse, we'll do our best to send you to somebody who's very competent and very skilled. Will get you through your situation. But I want to get right to our guest. Enough for our promotional material. So one thing we've tried to do with Meldon Law and Friends since the beginning is that it's not a law show. It's a show where we talk to people in the community, movers, shakers, drivers, people who are getting stuff done. And we've got somebody very much who fits that bill in Brad Gamble. Brad, I was reading about the Selling Factory, and I'm fascinated by it because it's something that puts students to work. It gives them real life selling experience. But let's talk about you for a minute. You came here, you were a UF student yourself. Tell our viewers and listeners, we also got people listening on 39 different audio platforms. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started.
Sure. So I grew up in South Florida, moved to Gainesville in 1997 to go to school at Florida. My father was a Gator grad, so I had no choice but to come to University of Florida.
Pretty much like me and my kids.
Yeah, and graduated with my degree in marketing from the Warrington College of Business.
Terrific.
And luckily got a job with a company called Infinite Energy, which at the time was a smaller company, about 20 people. Started off as a sales representative there, and then over a 15-year career I had there, the last 8 years there, I was the vice president of sales and marketing. We grew the company tremendously, worked for some incredible owners at the company there. And in 2014, moved on from the selling factory, having gotten married, had a daughter, have a daughter, and now I'm on to my new venture, the selling factory.
Okay, well, tell us about that. What is the Selling Factory for somebody who's never heard of it?
So what we've created is a destination where we can provide a learning environment and help students, college students, really grow their communication skills, salesmanship, and get experience working with real companies that choose to outsource their entry-level sales needs to our company. So we're that connection point between students and between companies that are looking to grow their business.
Okay, so you're taking students and they're college students, correct?
Yes, college students.
Are they just University of Florida students?
So to date, they have been all University of Florida students. We're located 3 blocks away from the College of Business, so it's very convenient for them to come work in the office there. Just recently, we have actually expanded to the University of Georgia. So now we have a team of Georgia students on board, and we're soon going to be expanding to University of Wisconsin, and are going to have students that are going to be joining the company from there.
So what this sounds like to me, it's much like an internship. You're offering students an opportunity to work in a real-life learning laboratory, so to speak. Give us some examples of what the day-to-day activities are for students at the Selling Factory.
Well, we really want to focus on working around a student's schedule. Their number one priority is school, and we recognize that. And what we do is we bring students on board, recruit them, hire them, train them on entry-level salesmanship skills, and then create teams of students that are supporting client companies. So what our students are doing are anywhere from building lists of prospects for businesses, doing outbound calling, taking inbound calls, whatever a company would hire an entry-level, say a full-time entry-level sales representative to do. Those are the job functions that we're replicating with our students in a, as you said, an internship environment.
And how do you go about finding the students that are a good fit for the Selling Factory?
So we have been working with many colleges at the University of Florida. We have a wonderful connection and relationship with UF. They've been super supportive of what we've built now over the last 5 years at the Selling Factory, and we have it's a lot of word of mouth. A lot of students work there, and they refer their friends. We have relationships with some sororities and fraternities, also with job postings that we put up at College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, College of Business, College of Journalism, and we also work with student athletes as well.
What sounds fascinating about this to me, actually many things do, but the first thing that came to my mind when I was reading about your company is that anybody who works professionally, whatever you do, you're a salesman one way or another. People might think at first, wow, well, I'm not going to be working in retail sales. What would this do for me? But in fact, you know, whether you're a professional, a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, any kind of a tradesperson, you're selling yourself. And these are the types of skills and training that I think would be applicable to anybody, correct?
100%. And we see that with all the different types of majors that we have, students with just a multitude of different majors. You think typically sales, business, marketing, finance, but we have students that are biology majors. We have students that are journalism majors. We have students that are sustainability majors. And to your point, what we tell them is say, look, you may not go into a sales job, and that's totally fine. I love sales. We love sales as a team, but we understand that there's going to be other careers that you go into. But having the ability to communicate effectively, articulate your point, sell your boss, sell a recruit on a new job, sell an idea to a project manager, bedside manner if you're a doctor. I mean, all these things are just it's cloaked in sales. So there's a lot of confidence building that takes place when that student comes in and they're looking at a phone saying, I have to make that first call. It's terrifying. But after doing it 30, 40, 50 times, after a week or two maybe, it's night and day when you see the confidence that they exude after doing that.
So when you started off talking about how the type of companies, the type of clients you work with are companies that look to outsource some of their sales force, some of their sales teams. So maybe for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, and myself quite candidly, what are some examples of the types of clients and companies that do this type of thing, that look outside their four walls in terms of building a staff and building developmental representatives, I think they're called,
Yep.
To work for them?
Yeah, so we've worked with a multitude of different companies, everything from companies in SaaS or tech companies to consumer goods companies to commercial services companies, and especially in real life today with the hiring woes that are occurring when people just can't find talent to onboard to their company, they're looking more and more to options to outsource. But we've worked with a lot of Gainesville companies, a lot of Gator-owned, Gator-founded companies, and then we've worked from companies all the way from New York to Chicago to San Francisco to LA, and some international companies. But where companies really benefit is when they have entry-level sales tasks that need to be accomplished for their company to grow, and they either don't want to do it themselves, they don't want to build a team around it, or they can't find people in order to do that work, which is when they come to us.
Let me ask you this, Brad. So let's say a student shows up at the Selling Factory. He or she has been approved to become an intern to work there. Do you provide them training before they're cast to the wolves, so to speak, before they go to work for the XYZ corporation doing outbound sales calls? What sort of training do you provide them?
So when we bring students on in cohorts of anywhere from, say, 8 to 12 students at a time.
Okay.
So the first couple weeks, they're going, and all of our students are working 10 to 12 hours per week because, again, their school is their number one priority, of course. So they'll go through a couple weeks of training, which is maybe 10 hours or so, and then they will join a client's campaign team where we have full-time campaign managers that will further train them on the actual client, their goals and expectations, and the tasks that they will be completing. So it's not a, come on in and sit down there and just start making calls and you'll figure it out later. We do quite a bit of training.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're setting them up for success, and we have a really supportive environment that we provide for them.
Sounds to me like this is an excellent line on a resume
Yes.
for a student to say that they've worked for you. How long is a typical internship? Is it for one semester or a year? How do you set that up?
So on average, students probably stay with us 6 to 8 months. Now that could be as little as 2 or 3 months if it's one semester. And we've had students that have been there for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then, so it really is a wide range of time periods that they'll stay with us. But we have some students that will work for us in the spring semester, then go do another internship in the summer, and then come back in the fall. So the year-round aspect and being very convenient to their schedule and their location is really what makes it attractive to them too.
So do the students get class credit for this?
Yeah, some do. We have a large percentage of our students get class credit. But we don't provide that for them. That's something that they work out with their
individual instructor. What about students from Santa Fe College? Would they be able to participate in this, or is the local office strictly UF?
So to date, we've had a couple Santa Fe students work for us. We've had such a great talent pipeline with University of Florida. Thankfully, we're very lucky, and through a lot of relationship building, have been able to keep that pipeline full. Mm-hmm. But we've had students, especially students that are spending a couple years getting their AA degree and then transferring to University of Florida.
I see.
Are a good fit as well.
I want you to hold that thought because we're about to cut to a break. You are watching Meldon Law and Friends, a podcast brought to you each and every Tuesday at 4 p.m. by Meldon Law, a law firm based in Gainesville that handles personal injury and criminal defense cases. We will be right back after this break.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Hello and welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. Today is Tuesday. We are in the year 2022. Today is January 24th. My name is Chris Qualman. I am the chief investigator and also the major case division manager for Meldon Law Firm. And if you watch the first 41 episodes of this show, I was and still am from time to time, one of the hosts of this program, the podcast. I'm also the voice of Law Talk Live on Saturdays on radio station 97.3 on your FM dial. And we've had Law Talk Live going now. We are in our 20th year of broadcast. Hopefully we'll get to that at some point with regard to this podcast as well. We certainly want to thank everybody who have been watching our podcast. We are now in episode 66, which means we are about a year and a quarter into this podcast. We started it back in November of 2020, and it's gone through a few changes along the way. We are now broadcasting live on Facebook Live from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, as you can see from all the helmets in the background. And we want to thank, of course, Coach Spurrier, the head ball coach, and we want to thank Freddie Wiebe, the managing partner of the restaurant, for all they have done, and our producer, Evan Miller. I can't forget my good friend, Evan, for all that all of them have done in helping us facilitate this podcast. A couple of other just administrative announcements I want to get out of the way. Want to again remind everybody that we are a firm that handles personal injury cases. This is our specialty. This is what has been the bread and butter of Meldon Law from day one. Since Jeffrey opened his doors and started practicing law in 1971, Meldon Law has handled personal injury cases. We have represented thousands and thousands of victims of car crashes, bus crashes, big truck crashes, bicycle versus auto, pedestrian versus auto, skateboard, scooter versus auto, trip and fall, slip and fall, animal bite cases, concert injuries, amusement park injuries, supermarket slip and fall cases, any type of situation where somebody has been injured due to the negligence, carelessness, or recklessness of another. You don't need to call anybody else. Call us. Call us at Meldon Law, 352-373-8000. We have people available 24/7. You will always talk to a Meldon. You will always talk to an attorney. You will not get pushed off on somebody else. We take great pride in each and every case we handle, whether it's a small case, a big case, or the many in between. Please give us a call at Meldon Law. Even if you're already represented by somebody else and you'd like just to get a second opinion on your case, we're always happy to do that. Again, please give us a call anytime, 1-352-373-8000, and take a look at our website at meldonlaw.com. One other thing I want to get out of the way before I get back to our guest is a lot of people have been asking me about our ticket giveaways that we've been doing each and every week. And this is the time of year, while football's not happening anymore in terms of college football, we've got the pros still going on. We do more ticket giveaways this time of year than any other time of year because so many Gator sports are going on. You've got men's basketball, the women's basketball, which, by the way, has got an amazing team. If you've been following the Gator basketball team, Brad, the women's team has just been doing incredible. They beat LSU, they beat Georgia, they beat Kentucky. They're doing extraordinarily well. So I want to urge everybody to get out there and support the Lady Gator basketball team. We also have tickets that we give away for volleyball games, for gymnastics meets. In the spring, of course, not too distant future, there's the Gator baseball team. Have you been out to that new stadium?
It's incredible.
Isn't it amazing? We've got literally, I think, the best college baseball stadium in the country. So how do you get tickets? Just follow us. Just follow us on Facebook. Follow the Meldon Law Facebook page. Check out our website, like I said, both on the front page of our website and on the Meldon Law Facebook page. We always have information about ticket giveaways. Jeffrey loves doing ticket giveaways. We are now also a sponsor of the Gator Band, so we'll be doing a lot of things with the Gator Band. You heard me talk about new commercials being shot, some really funny ones, so be on the lookout for that. So with that lengthy prelude out of the way, I want to get back to our guest, Mr. Brad Gamble from the Selling Factory. And Brad, I'm so fascinated by this because I was a student, I told you before we went on the air, at the University of Florida, both as an undergrad and law student. And I would have loved to have seen something like this, where students from all majors could seamlessly, go into this program and learn such valuable life skills as well as professional skills. Do you help these students get jobs after their internships are over?
We do, and that's really become even more prevalent, excuse me, over this past year, because we have now gotten to the point where we've had 350 college students work for our company the last 5 years. And so just last year alone, we had 185 students work for us. So with that comes a large network of Selling Factory alumni. So we actually just fall of last year launched our recruiting and placement side of our business. Now that we have scale, which is continuing to grow, we have companies that we'll work with to try to find jobs for our students. Now, being a University of Florida student, you're very smart. You're going to a top 5 university. You're obviously very driven. So you've got some really big companies recruiting from UF, whether it's Oracle or Amazon or Target.
Procter & Gamble, I know.
Oh gosh, Hershey, just massive companies. So every spring when the majority of our students are graduating, a lot of them already have jobs lined up, which is awesome for them. But for those that don't or just aren't sure what they want to do, we certainly try to connect them with our partner companies on the recruiting and placement side.
Want to remind our viewers, we urge you to send us questions. If you've got a question for Brad Gamble, a question for me, or something about the Selling Factory, maybe you know a student at UF who might benefit from this program, please type us a question right there on Facebook Live. It's very easy. Just type your question right in the comments section. Our producer will see it, and as long as it's reasonable and not containing a whole bunch of 4-letter words, we'll do our best to answer it. Anyhow, but seriously, we want you to ask us questions, so that's why I keep pitching this so hard. So by all means, whatever question you've got, whatever reasonable question you have, please type it in the comments section and we'll get to it and answer it the best we can. So Brad, another thing that's interesting to me about this is how much the sales industry has changed. So maybe talk a little bit about that in the broad sense. Why is it that major companies are looking to outsource portions of their sales team and sales staff? In other words, what is in it for a major company to come to the Selling Factory and use your talent pool?
You're right. A lot of things have changed, and I've been running sales teams since 1999, so almost a little over 20 years now. And where there used to be a lot of when you think of sales, it's dialing for dollars. It's just cold calling and call 150 people a day, and somebody will hopefully tell you yes, and 149 people will tell you no. But what's really changed is technology, of course. Now you have so much in the way of marketing automation that can drive in inbound inquiries. So instead of just making cold calls, you're actually fielding inbound, whether it's to your website, social media, through email marketing that you're doing, which is great for the sales professional, because I would rather talk to 10 people a day that are interested than 150 people a day that are probably not interested, and I'm bothering them. So but there's still a talent issue. You still have to, with as much AI and bots that can answer calls, and most people still want to talk to somebody if they have an issue, if they have a question, and they can't find that information on a chat or on your website. So that's where it still takes people to do that. And with so much growth that's been happening, especially in these larger companies, for having the need for entry-level sales talent, that's where we can solve that problem from them and provide that talent.
So how can people find out about the Selling Factory? I'm sure we have people watching who've got students. They might have sons, daughters, granddaughters, grandsons. Maybe they themselves are students they're watching, and they're watching this thinking, hey, this is something I want to do. How do they get in touch with you?
So they can go to thesellingfactory.com. That's our website. And if you're wanting to connect with us about if you are a student or you have a student that's interested, there's a student part of our page.
I see.
And then if you're a business that's interested about just learning more about the company or some of the struggles that they're having, there's a business side of our page. Either way, there's a contact form there. You can schedule a meeting with us. You can also go to our LinkedIn page where we're very active, The Selling Factory on LinkedIn. We have, you were mentioning earlier before we started about the blogs. We have so many amazing
I wanted to ask
blogs.
you about that.
Okay, well, I'll segue to that now.
That's okay. No, so as I was researching your
Yeah.
company in preparation for today, I took a look at the website, and folks, it is a great website. It is chock full of information, kind of like the Meldon Law website, but your website is outstanding. And what I loved, and I even took notes on a few of these, are the blog topics. And my understanding is
Yeah.
many of your students write these. Everything from, this is one I found fascinating, want to work in sports, learn how to sell. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about that. So you actually have some training on, or you have some of these young students who work in sports relating to these sales techniques.
Well, yes, we do. And I wanted to be in sports marketing when I was a student at UF, and then realized that the energy business was a lot more attractive. So made the switch to a different industry. But we're a student-driven company. Our students are the heart and soul of our company. We really work with them on not only helping their verbal communication, but also their written communication. So we work with them and encourage them to write blogs for any topics that they want to write about, whether it's Generation Z entering the sales.
I saw
field,
that one as well.
diversity in
Yeah.
sales, and women getting into sales. You had mentioned the one about if you want to get into sports, learn how to sell. These are all written by our students. Now, they might be edited by us a little bit, but they're written by our students.
I love some of these topics. Should you start a side hustle? 5 tips for college students. I like that one. Tips for cold calls, when to use and when to abandon the script.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are all things you talk about in your training.
Yep, it is. And a lot of this comes from their experience at the selling factory.
LinkedIn advice to differentiate yourself. Find time to manage time in school. So like you said, it looks like there's a lot of practical advice that your student interns are giving other young people in terms of how they can make this transition.
Yes, and we actually just launched this semester a monthly session that we're putting together where students are invited to hear about how to prepare for career fair, how to have a fantastic resume or a LinkedIn page, how to present yourself. I mean, all things like that, because we realize that just like a sports team in college, our students are going to fly away. If we can help them just get a leg up when they fly away from us, then we've done our job, and we're thrilled to help them.
Well, Brad Gamble, I am very, very impressed by what your company does. I think it offers an outstanding service to students, giving them some very much real-world experience in sales, marketing, just in terms of business strategies, learning, like you said, not just the spoken word, but the written word, and looking at the blog topics. I urge everybody out there to go to that website, thesellingfactory.com. You'll see a lot of useful information. I wish we had more time. We don't. It goes so fast. Anything you want to say to our viewers in the last 25 seconds about what you do?
Last thing I'll say is we should all be very excited about the future of students that are entering the workforce. I mean, you hear a lot of millennials or Gen Z or what it might be, but we see this every day with the 350 students that have worked for us. We're in good shape. These students students are incredible.
Well, you do a tremendous job and a tremendous service to the students here, and I thank you very much for that. We'll have you back on the show.
Appreciate
Want
it.
to hear more about you? Maybe in 6 months we'll do a check-in and see what's going on.
Great.
Folks, we'll be back in about 3 minutes with our next guest. Thank you for watching. We've still got 30 minutes of the show to go. Today is the 24th of January, 2022. My name is Chris Qualman. You are watching Meldon Law and Friends. We'll be right back.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down. The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not. No,
I am
it's not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy
no,
lady
wait,
here,
honey.
this crazy lady here might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Hello and welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends, a weekly podcast brought to you by Meldon Law, a statewide law firm with its primary office in Gainesville, where Jeffrey Meldon has been practicing since 1971. My name is Chris Qualman. I am the Chief Investigator and Major Case Division Manager for our law firm. And this is the second half of our program today. This is the 24th of January, 2022. I've got some outstanding guests I am extremely happy to have. They do such a wonderful thing here in Gainesville, and I'm going to toss to both of you in just a second. Got a couple of things I got to get out of the way. But trust me, you don't want to leave. You want to stick around for the next 30 minutes. This is going to be a lot of fun. I want to remind everybody, and I might not have warned you about this, but we take questions.
Awesome.
So we want you to ask questions. You're out there. We know you're watching. We know you're going to have some questions for our guests. So what we want you to do is just to go on your keyboard, type it right into the comments section, and ask us anything you want. Within reason. But seriously, ask us anything and we'll do our best to answer the questions. I want to remind everybody also that Meldon Law is a firm that handles personal injury cases. We represent victims of car crashes, big truck, 18-wheeler truck collisions, slip and fall, trip and fall, what we typically call premises liability cases, animal bite cases, any type of situation where somebody, their family's lives have been turned upside down due to the negligence, recklessness of another. You don't need to call anybody else. Call Jeffrey Meldon. He's been doing this since 1971. We have got the largest staff we've ever had in the firm's existence. This has been a year, despite COVID, it's been a year and a half of outstanding growth for the firm. Jeffrey talked about it a lot last week. He'll be talking more about it next week. Please give us a call anytime, toll free, 352-373-8000. We also handle DUI cases, criminal cases in state and federal court. Last week we had our newest attorney, Yolanda Means, who we just brought in from the Public Defender's Office. We're extraordinarily proud of her. Ian Pickens, Tanner Demery, and the whole criminal team. Whatever the case may be, whatever the type of case it is, even if it's something outside our wheelhouse, we'll do our best to refer you to somebody who can help you with your issue. But let's get right to our guests. We've got two people here. We've got Katherine Osman, who is the founder of this business known as Pinspiration.
Pinspiration.
And her daughter Rachel. Rachel, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Thank you guys for having us.
Well, we appreciate your patience and waiting to be on the show. And you've brought visual aids. And they asked me before we went on, can we bring samples? I said, of course. We love visual aids. We love samples. But I'm just going to toss to you to start, Katherine.
Sure.
What is Pinspiration?
Well, Pinspiration is actually a franchise, so it was started in Arizona, but we are, I think, the third store that's opened, and
Okay.
it's a DIY art and craft store and studio, and it takes its cues from Pinterest. So all those things that
I
everybody's
figured there had to
pinning-
be a connection with Pin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of people having to go buy all the things to make the items, we buy it, you come in and try.
Wow, okay.
And we're a beer and wine bar, right?
Well, that really makes it popular.
So
So
that-
you could come in, get beer and wine, and you can make art, and you don't even have to be the most talented artist in the planet.
Not at all. Everybody's got a ton of creativity in them, and I hate to say it, but beer and wine helps that a little bit, maybe. But everybody's got creativity in them, and we make it easy to let that flourish. So.
Well, I was reading a little bit about you before
Uh-huh.
we went on, and you've been all over the world. I mean, you have worked in some very exotic places. And
It sounds super exotic, but
Yeah.
they're pretty much Flint, Michigan, and all different, like all over the continent. Oshawa, Ontario, Flint,
Okay.
the actual Flint, Michigan, and Saltillo, Mexico.
okay, well, that's
But-
pretty cool.
It was very cool, and I went to school in Sweden, and
Well, okay,
You know,
so
it's
give
been-
yourself
it's been
give yourself some
interesting.
credit. That's very interesting. So, what gave you the idea to get involved in this? I know you said it's a franchise, but that had to be you worked at Okamic, and then you
Mm-hmm. I
said
still work at
you
Okamic.
still work at Okamic. Okay.
I saw a Facebook ad. So if you think Facebook ads don't work, they totally work.
They totally work.
I saw a Facebook ad, and it just so happened that I have been a serial crafter my whole life, and I've never felt like I was arty because I can't draw and I can't, but I've always liked to create. So I clicked a link, and then next thing you know, I was interviewing, and I was still like, oh, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And when they offered the franchise to me, I started to cry. And I guess that meant I really wanted to do it. I can't imagine not
So-
doing it.
Rachel, tell us about you. So I read your bio.
Mm-hmm.
You're a theater major, and you're a specialist at costuming.
Yes, yeah, I graduated.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I graduated in 2019 from UF with a degree in theater, and my minor was in costuming. So I mostly like to do costume design. I watched Project Runway when I was since I was 7. So I've just been
You and my
fascinated
daughter.
with it. Yeah. So I've just been fascinated with it, and then I found theater in high school, and then I just kind of rocketed from there. But I've always been a super artsy, creative person. I draw all the time. I do everything.
So between the two of you, give me an idea on what a typical day or night is at Pinspiration. Let me put it this way. Let's say my company that I work for, Meldon Law, wanted to come over there and do a team building or something like that. Tell me
We
what
would
type.
love it.
What would you put us through? What type of things?
I'd say we'd put you in the splatter room.
Splatter.
think
That sounds
splatter?
perfect for me.
Absolutely.
So you gear up in a paint suit with the hood and the goggles
Okay.
and gloves, and we have a room where you go in and you actually just fling paint at
Fling paint.
a canvas.
Okay, so
So it's-
Animal House had food fight. You guys have paint fight.
Yes.
Yeah. But we do have rules. We try to keep it a little clean.
All right.
No, we don't keep it clean, but
Yeah, that room is not clean, but we try to keep the chaos to a minimum.
and so you create your messy masterpiece.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. People, even really skeptical people, are shocked at how much fun they have in there. It's very
I
cathartic.
bet. So you have instructors or you have trainers, I
Mm-hmm. Yes,
imagine.
they're called
facilita-
muses.
Muses, okay. All right. Well, that sounds
know.
fascinating. Well, so tell me about this. This is a wonderful piece here. And what's the origin or genesis of this piece?
So we actually made that last year during our summer camp. So we work as camp counselors as well for 3 hours every day during the summer. And so it was me and a group of kids, and this is called an acrylic pour. So basically they choose their colors, everything, and then we mix it together with like some water, a little bit of like a mixing medium, just to make it a little bit more flowy, so it's not like just like paint on a canvas.
I love it. I got to tell you.
They're so cool because you literally just pour paint on top of each other in a cup.
Right?
And you dump it.
That's a wonderful piece.
And they always turn out different, and that is something that's really easy and accessible to a lot of people. So it always looks great. I've not seen one look bad.
So, Rachel, you have a creative background,
I do.
obviously with theater and with costuming. That involves a tremendous amount of creativity. Do either of you have any training beyond that in arts, or is it just something you just dove into full speed ahead?
I was an economics major.
But you've been
Well, there's probably a way that can be morphed
That's
into
creative.
art. Yeah.
I mean, you've been crafting my entire life.
Yeah,
That's
I've
why
always
like
loved
this.
creating. I can't imagine somebody going to like a craft fair and not being, I could make that. Like that's the story of my life. I could make that. And $500 later of all the supplies, I have my candle or my whatever. So we've taken the $500 out of supplies.
That's
You're going to
right.
use our supplies to make your masterpieces. You don't have to put the outlay.
Yeah, and we clean up after you.
Yeah,
which
and
is
we clean
always
up,
a-
which
a
is
big
Oh my
plus.
gosh, I'm sold.
Yeah, we've had kids throw glitter all around our store.
Glitter
and then
is our nemesis
it
and
is-
our savior.
yeah.
So we love glitter, we hate glitter.
I see. So where is it located?
It is located in Newberry Square, so if you know where the TJ Maxx is in Gainesville,
Yes.
we're across the street from that, next to the Publix.
Okay, very good. And is it strictly groups or can individuals go in?
Individuals are welcome to come in. Like, if you want to just like walk in and you're like, oh,
I want to make art.
I
Yep.
want to make something. What can I make right now?
We actually have a menu that you can come in and sit down at a table. We bring you a menu. You can pick your craft.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we'll bring everything to you. And you can make it. And if you have an idea that you want to make something that we've never made, we'll probably get you to teach a class. Or we will have you teach us.
Doubt I'll be teaching anything, but
No, like
I might have fun.
We just want to be the center of the community. You know, I think it's really important because art's being taken away in the schools so much.
It is, and that really distresses me.
Yeah.
We talked before we went on that all my children are performers. I got a daughter who is a touring Broadway performer, and I have two sons who are both performers
Oh,
as
wow.
well. So I agree wholeheartedly. It saddens me tremendously
It does.
when I hear about arts being taken away at the schools. I mean, there's an old saying, and it's the truth. Band kids don't get in trouble. Okay.
I was a band kid.
Band kids, the discipline involved with the marching bands and everything, and the arts. I'm just such a champion of that, and I'm just so happy to see you doing what you're doing.
I think it's so important for a well-rounded person to have a little bit of everything. So we had a girl come in by herself. She booked a reservation in the splatter room. She was just finishing up a really difficult exam week, and she just needed a
Blow
break.
some steam.
So she came in by herself. She was the cutest thing, played her music because we have speakers in there and an Alexa, and she just went wild.
So stop there. So you can even choose your music?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we have an
Art
Alexa.
and music, they
So
go
if I
together.
want to blast rock and roll, if I want to blast Journey or
absolutely.
AC/DC or Led
You'd be
Zeppelin.
listening to my mix. The minute I leave, they're like, oh, thank God.
So it's rap and hip hop and
Oh, no.
They're,
I have a very,
yeah.
I'm varied.
She's my kid.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up on like AC/DC Journey.
My
Okay.
husband initiated her into the member of the
I'm
KISS
never-
Army.
Yeah.
all right. How about
Seventh
that?
grade member.
So I apologize.
Play rock and roll all night while
Yeah.
you're doing a splatter thing.
Yeah.
That sounds fascinating. So, what is your internet presence? I assume you have a website and Facebook,
We have
and,
Facebook,
and social media.
Instagram, and I'm done with my knowledge of social media. What else do
We'll
we
toss
have?
to your daughter.
Yeah.
She's probably an expert.
Yeah, we have a Facebook and Instagram. We also do have a website, so you can find both of those on there. So Pinspiration Gainesville is going to be our Instagram handle, and then Do we have a TikTok?
We need a TikTok.
Okay.
You need
Actually
a
know what a TikTok
you need a
is.
TikTok. I bet you could make some really good TikTok
I think we could make some
videos.
really cool art
And we're
videos.
dog friendly.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have a shop dog named
Yeah,
Bo.
he's my roommate's dog. But
So
he's,
people can bring their dogs.
If it's a
Absolutely.
friendly dog,
Yeah.
sure. We're good with that.
All right, so rock and roll, dogs, beer, wine, paint
And
splatter
TVs.
room, and TVs.
Yeah.
Which we show Gator games or Michigan State games. I have to say.
You're a Michigan. I think I saw that on your bio.
I am
You
obnoxious
wear
about it.
Spartan green.
I do.
Hey,
But my
you-
kids all went to Florida, so
Yeah.
that gives me a pass, right?
Well, they're smart kids. You raised them well.
I raised them well.
You raised them well. Well, this is fascinating, and we're going to have to cut to a break in about 30 seconds, but we've still got another segment, and we're going to talk a lot more about Pinspiration. Hey, ask us questions. You got two great guests here who got all kind of fun things to say. So if you're at your keyboard, you have a question about Pinspiration, maybe you're part of a group that might want to come. Maybe a church organization, maybe a work organization, maybe you and your husband or you and your boyfriend or guy and his girlfriend, you want to come out for a fun night. Rock and roll, beer, wine, paint splattering. What better time can you have
What
than
could be
that? So we'll be right back with Meldon Law and Friends and our two good friends from Pinspiration. Thank you for watching. We'll be back in 30 to 60 seconds, something like that.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Hello and welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. Today is Tuesday, January 24th, 2022. My name is Chris Qualman. I work for Meldon Law. I am the Chief Investigator and Major Case Division Manager. And every so often, I host this podcast. In fact, if you look at the first 41 episodes, I'm on just about all of those. But hey, Jeffrey and Carrie, they're the owners of the firm. They do a wonderful job with the podcast. What they're doing today, well, they're making TV commercials back at the office, and we've got a whole bunch of brand new commercials, which will be airing in the weeks and months to come. Some funny ones as well. I actually did a little voiceover on a couple of them, so we're having a lot of fun with the TV commercials, the Albert and the Alberta commercials. They're all part and parcel of the fact that Meldon Law is still very much the only official law firm community partner of the Florida Gators. So please take a look at our website at meldonlaw.com, and you'll learn a lot more about Meldon Law. We've got a couple of questions. The first one is from Robert. Do you guys do children's birthday parties?
Absolutely.
Children of all ages. We had a lady came in, she was turning 60. And then we've had kids as young as
Three. Three's been the youngest. that
So,
we've
yes,
celebrated.
Robert, please come in.
So ironically, we were just talking, the first guest we had on, Brad Gamble, in the changeover between the two segments, Brad mentioned that his daughter's birthday party
Yeah.
was at Pinspiration, and they had a wonderful time.
It's a really good time. It's something out of the ordinary. You can either do a project or you can have a splatter party. And we have a VIP room where you can book the room.
You
just
can
to
do
have us.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's pretty cool.
Well, that leads us to our next question. We have a question from Santa. Do you host bachelorette parties?
Yes,
Yep,
we do.
We do.
That's a big yes, Santa.
Yeah.
We make mean mimosas, too.
Yeah, we have mimosas, we have champagne, we have a lot of wine, too.
Wine, mimosas, beer, loud music, rock and roll, Led Zeppelin.
A dog.
A dog.
A
You
dog.
can bring dogs. Could they bring cats?
I mean,
We haven't had
anybody bring in a cat yet, but if they want to, and he's like, and if it's a cat that's like really good on a leash and really
if
friendly,
he's
I
real
would
chill.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love
We
that.
like pets.
You like pets. Okay. Well, this just sounds fascinating to me, and we don't normally get into cost, but I'm intrigued by this because let's say like you mentioned, the example of somebody who a young woman who just finished a tough exam, she wanted to come in and blow off some steam. I'm like that. I have days where I'm just so stressed and busy at work, I just need to do something out of the ordinary. What would it cost for a guy like me just to come on in and just hang for an hour and work the splatter room and listen to loud rock and roll?
So the splatter room starts at $18 per person, and that comes with a canvas. It comes with all the paint that's in the room, and it comes with the Alexa system. If you wanted to get a beer or wine on top of that, that would obviously be like a little bit extra, but $18 flat, you get an hour.
I've seen some of the splatter art where they have spinning wheels and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have devices like that?
We do actually. It's our spin art machine. That starts at $2, and it's really fun for kids, especially because they just get to choose all their paint and they get to watch it like kind of spin around and do all of its really.
I
good
imagine
stuff.
this is a real confidence builder too.
Oh, yeah.
For not just a young person, an older person who might think that I or we don't have any artistic talent. We come to something like this, and all of a sudden, holy smoke! Look what I created.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that I do that. Like when I go in there, I'm like, wow, that's really good.
So, do you have any other examples of things?
Oh, yeah.
We do.
Okay,
I've
well,
got my
let's show
daughter
them.
here.
Let's show them. Here we go.
So this is one of our splatter paintings.
And that was made by, I think, was
That's
she
really
little?
cool.
I
Okay.
do not know how.
I think it was from a birthday party.
It says Michelle Ginsburg,
Yeah.
12/7/21.
She left it. Michelle, if you're out there, you need to come get your art.
That is really.
But isn't it cool?
That is really good. I'd put
I
that
love
on
the
my wall.
colors. And we have also the ability in
beautiful.
our splatter room to do glow in the dark. It's
Okay.
an additional cost, but we have glow lights and the lights all go out. It's a room about this big.
Yeah.
I'd say. And we
Okay.
have curtains and it's pretty cool.
Except you
Glow.
don't have Steve Spurrier dropping in every so often to say hello. But
No.
maybe we could get him to do that. You never know.
We did have the women's basketball team come in. for
How about
us,
that?
and
We,
the
we were
women's-
just talking about them. They're doing really, really
They
well.
are.
Guess when they came in? Right before they went on this winning streak. So
Wait,
I'm not saying that we did it, but
But maybe so. You might have
You
had
could do a
some
causal.
indirect involvement
no,
in
they
that.
were awesome. We've also had the volleyball team come in. So I think it was just trying to make us feel really short.
Hey, we
Yeah.
had two great questions there a minute or two ago. We've still got about 7.5 minutes left. Please, if you have any questions for our two wonderful guests, Katherine and her daughter Rachel, they are the owners, driving force behind Pinspiration here in Gainesville, which sounds like a heck of a good time. I know I'm going to check it out. So,
Yeah, I love it.
And I'm sure Jeffrey and the firm, maybe we'll do a firm building
That-
thing. Some people go on zip lines. Some people come to Pinspiration
and
And
splatter.
they're-
and splatter and make great art.
And
So.
then you can take your art home back to the office and you can always remember this amazing day. you had.
Oh, we are so going to do this. We are so going
We would love it.
Seriously, if you have any questions for our wonderful guests, ask them about Pinspiration. Maybe you've got an idea for something that would work well there. Type it in the comments section of Facebook Live. Ask your question. Hey, we haven't turned down any questions today. So whatever it is, as long as it's reasonable, I don't even care if it's unreasonable. Ask a question. We'll be happy to answer it. So what's next? I mean, do you have any plans for expansion, growth, maybe opening another store?
Oh, I would love to.
What's more?
My poor daughter's like, no, Mom. Well, I always envision us going down toward Ocala in the
Okay.
villages because I think that would be a really big market.
In the villages. That would be interesting. It would be. I bet they would eat it up.
I'm sure they would. So that's kind of in my head. That's what I want to do next. So
We have a question from Evan, and he says, I see pour painting on your Facebook. What is that?
So that would be this big canvas that's right here. So
This
it's
one?
It's a acrylic pour painting. So you choose your colors. We kind of guide you through all the directions on how to do it. So if you've seen like YouTube videos or TikToks or anything, because I know this is very big online right
it
now.
is huge.
I really
online.
like this one right
Isn't that
here. I mean,
fun?
that's one I could put up on my wall.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's just super fun and it never
We could
turns
teach you.
out badly.
You could teach me how to
Yeah.
make one like
Because
that.
basically, really, all you did was layer paint with this medium, and you just put it in a cup.
I
Literally.
see. So if they're telling me that they can even make me a decent artist, I mean, I draw stick figures. I mean, that's,
You don't even need to draw for that.
I know. I think
We gotcha.
The kids who made this were all like ranging from ages like 5 to like 8 or so.
And sometimes kids are great because they're fearless with the color choices. Like sometimes I look at the colors that people put together and I'm like, that's not going to look good. And then they do it and it's amazing. I tend to be a little bit more conservative in my color choices, as we know. So
I know we've been talking. I actually had one of our assistants wrote up some questions for me, and I've basically ignored them because I've had so much fun just talking with you. But you've been talking about the splatter room. You have something called Splatter Date listed on your website as something to do. What is a splatter date?
So it's you and your partner can go into the splatter room. We give you guys a big canvas. You guys get the black light experience. You get all the music in there that comes with it, and then once you guys are done with that, you guys both get a glass of champagne and a chocolate fondue tray.
Chocolate fondue tray.
fondue.
Yeah,
Listen to this. I
with
mean, I
dipping
had no
chocolate.
idea that you did all these things for
Yeah.
your clients. This is incredible.
Yeah, and
And
then
then-
they get to make a little resin coaster afterwards. So it's a little alcohol ink coaster, a little ceramic tile. They get to make that, and then we put some resin on top of it, make it really super waterproof. And it's a nice little
Pinspiration.
memento.
This sounds like so much fun. Tell everybody again where you're located.
So we are located in Newberry Square, across the street from where the TJ Maxx is, and we're right next to Publix.
Okay. And what are your hours of operation?
So we are going to be open. We're open every day except Monday right now, and most days our hours are from noon to 6, and then Thursdays and Fridays we are open from 2 to 8.
Okay. What, are there certain days that are busier than others?
Saturdays and Sundays are definitely our busiest days.
If you want to do a splatter on Saturday or Sunday, I definitely recommend making a reservation because it fills up.
And you can do that on the website?
Yes, you can either do that on the website or through. If you want to call us, we can take reservations over.
Okay. And the website is what again? The web address?
Pinspiration.com, and then
And then just find
Pinspiration.
Pinspiration.com.
Not perspiration.
Yeah, no.
Pinspiration.
Inspiration, like Pinterest.
Like
And-
Pinterest.
Yeah. So pinspiration.com, and then you can, I think it's
yeah,
Gainesville.
you'll go under the locations tab. You'll find Gainesville, and then you can look at all of our project selections and all of our. And it should. It's pretty easy to navigate. You can get to reservations pretty easily.
And it
through
shows
there.
our calendar there too, because we're starting to offer a lot more classes.
Okay, so that's, I was just about to ask that. So in terms of training, I mean, and you were talking about students and summer camps and whatnot. Talk a little bit about that in the minutes we have left. Some of the things for children, some of the activities you have and camps and such.
Well, during the summer, we did run a summer camp, and every week had a different theme.
Okay.
And they got to invent their own superhero, and then
Or their own animal.
and their own animal, and then
Hey,
they
I
made-
want to do that. I want to
know.
make my own superhero.
I know.
Right?
And then they got to create a little habitat for their animal, and they got to decide what their animal ate and all that. It was really,
Yeah, it was
really
really fun.
Super creative. They did a painting inspired by their animal, inspired by a superhero, and of course, splatter room. And they did splatter on clothing, so they got to wear their clothes home.
This sounds like, Nickelodeon, and
Yeah.
slime.
the slime they
yeah.
have.
We made slime too. We
Yeah,
made
we
slime
do.
one day.
We do have slime making materials.
There you go. I don't think there's anything these two don't
yeah.
do.
They're really. If you've seen something online, we probably do have
Probably
the
would
supplies
figure out how
for
to do it.
Well, I am just so impressed and fascinated by what the two of you are doing. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm
We
going to
would love
talk to
that.
my law firm about checking it out.
Please
Yes, we would love to have
I
you
imagine
guys.
you have Facebook. You talked about earlier. You have a Facebook page, Instagram, and
Instagram.
such.
Yes.
Okay, and the Facebook page is just
Pinspiration Gainesville.
Yeah.
Pinspiration Gainesville.
Gainesville,
yes.
Okay. We've got about a minute and a half left. If you got a question, you better make it quick. Got a burning desire? Want to ask them something? Now's the time to do it. If not, they can always call you. Okay, what should I wear to splatter? Evan has asked.
So we do recommend wearing anything you don't mind getting paint on. We do cover you guys from head to toe, but accidents happen. So
Does it
anything-
wash out?
It
It's
does wash
washable.
out. It's
Okay.
it's washable paint. I've gotten paint on almost every piece
Okay.
of clothing I own, and it's come out pretty well. So, but if you're like really attached to something, maybe don't wear it.
How much do you want for this?
Why don't we're gonna gift that to you? That is
No,
your
no,
gift.
no. That's not what I meant.
kids from
I
summer
love
camp.
it though. I want to pay for it. That is a wonderful piece.
We're having a class in pour painting.
Yes.
Pour paint.
I
the
think
set.
that is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
I love
every,
that.
every month. Yeah, our class calendar is going to be on our website.
No,
as well.
I'm going to come and I'm going to learn how to do this. I
Yeah.
mean, you have motivated me. I think it's something for stress relief or just a
Oh.
lot of fun, and it sounds like a great time everybody
love
would
it.
have. So I am so happy that you got booked on this show.
I am too.
I have to admit, I knew nothing about what this organization was. I started reading about it, and now having met you, it just sounds like a wonderful time.
Well, we want to be a place where people can just come and hang out and create.
All
and-
right.
Yeah, no rules within reason.
We got to bring this to a close. Thank you so much, both of you, for the driving forces, Katherine and Rachel behind Pinspiration. That's all the time we have. Thank you for watching Meldon Law Friends. We'll see you next week.